When you search on Google or Amazon for the phrase "books about sleep," Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker is the top search result. A New York Times bestseller, praised by the scientific community and praised by the likes of Bill Gates, it's no surprise this book is the top choice. And as is typical for me, I'm behind the times. This book was written in 2017, but I was only recently made aware of this book. But it's better late than never. I just finished reading the book and I knew I had to share my thoughts with you because I can't be the only one who has never heard of this book before. But instead of doing a typical book review, I'm instead going to present this from the standpoint of should you read the book? Since the book is already a few years old, doing a book review doesn't make complete sense to me. Instead, I'm going to present what this book offers, and from there you can determine if you think it's worth reading. So let's begin exploring if you should read Why We Sleep. Hey everyone, my name is Matthew, and welcome to Calm Insomniac, where we're a community of people trying to get a better night's sleep. If you enjoy learning about sleep health, sleep tips, and relaxing classical music, then please subscribe with notifications on. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a like as it greatly helps out the channel. Let's begin by discussing some background information on this book and its author. Matthew Walker is one of the world's top sleep experts. Dr. Walker is the director of UC Berkeley's Sleep and Neuroimaging Lab, and he has authored or co-authored numerous studies on sleep. Dr. Walker is a sleep scientist and not a sleep doctor. He makes this distinction several times throughout the book, and it's important we understand this too. His interest in sleep is from a research perspective. Therefore, he can make recommendations to the medical community regarding sleep, but he does not treat patients. Additionally, he has no affiliations, positive or negative, with any major pharmaceutical companies like a lot of doctors do when they only prescribe certain brand medications. Why We Sleep is the first sleep book by a leading sleep science expert. Now, this might come as a surprise to you, but when you think about it, it makes sense. Most books about sleep are really trying to be self-help books, and Why We Sleep is markedly different in this regard. The book focuses on understanding the science of sleep and how sleep affects our health. However, the book gives very few recommendations to actually improve our sleep. Instead, the book wants to educate you on your sleep so that you then have the intrinsic motivation to make any necessary changes to your sleep. So simply put, this book provides education and not a prescription. Next, let's talk about the book's structure. The book is divided into 4 parts. This thing called sleep, why should you sleep, how and why we dream, and from sleeping pills to society transformed. What's great about this structure is that it's sequential. Dr. Walker naturally progresses from defining sleep to explaining why we should sleep to dreams to how our sleep has changed. And through this structure, Dr. Walker takes the reader from any prior knowledge about sleep to understanding the complexities of sleep. If you have any educational training, you will recognize that this is the perfect model for how to teach a new concept to students. We, the reader, are Dr. Walker's students, and he is an excellent educator. Within this broad structure, each chapter only focuses on a few topics. This level of specificity allows us to learn the many sleep-related topics at a slow but in-depth pace. For example, Chapter 2's title is Caffeine, Jet Lag, and Melatonin, Losing and Gaining Control of Your Sleep Rhythm. Unsurprisingly, Dr. Walker is discussing maintaining a sleep rhythm or sleep schedule and how caffeine, jet lag, and melatonin can affect this. It's a simple but effective way to structure these chapters so that we have maximum understanding. Next, I want to address his writing style because I believe it's one of the reasons this book is so enjoyable. This book was written for the layperson, as in the general public. This book was not written for scientists or medical professionals, but they certainly can read it. This means the language is simple and easy to understand. But don't worry, Dr. Walker isn't insulting our intelligence. He is exceptionally good at discussing complex topics in simple terms. Better yet, Dr. Walker frequently compares sleep topics to other topics we are likely already familiar with. Dr. Walker proves once again that he is an excellent educator. His ability to relate sleep to other aspects of our life makes it not only easy to understand, but also assures that we never feel like we're reading a textbook. And it's this hybrid, academic, conversational tone that makes the book feel like a quick read, even though we are gaining a ton of valuable information. If you're at all familiar with Malcolm Gladwell and his books, such as Outliers, then this is the closest comparison that I can make. Dr. Walker and Malcolm Gladwell are both extremely capable at discussing complex topics in simple terms. In fact, I'd argue that reading Dr. Walker's book is fun. It feels like we're having a conversation with a very knowledgeable friend rather than being lectured to from a teacher. Now, for as much praise as this book has received, it should be no surprise that it's received some criticism too. And I only mention this criticism just to be thorough and not because I'm critiquing the book myself. The main criticism is that Dr. Walker over-exaggerates and oversimplifies the facts. Now, this is not to say that he presents inaccurate information. Rather, some people argue that he presents the facts in a certain way to make sweeping generalizations. For example, Dr. Walker frequently mentions that healthy adults should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, and this is an undisputed fact. However, he further states that sleeping less than 7 hours a night is detrimental to our health. Now, this is true for a lot of people, but it's not true for everyone. And there are many health problems that are connected to poor sleep, but science can't definitively say that poor sleep is the cause of these health problems. It's these kinds of generalizations that upset a lot of people, and some people have even gone so far as to accuse Dr. Walker of using scare tactics. Now, with this, I have to disagree. He may use some generalizations, but we have to remember that he wrote this book for the average person and not a scientist or a medical professional. Finally, in addition to his generalizations, some have argued that he uses incorrect numerical data. For example, Dr. Walker might mention a 200 or 300% increase or decrease of a certain data point. And people argue that 200 and 300% increases or decreases are mathematically impossible. However, this is possible because, for example, a 200% increase in something is simply 2 times the original value. Regardless of the criticism it's received, these are just points to be aware of and not necessarily a reason to avoid reading the book. Alright, those are some of the highlights of Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and hopefully this gives you just enough information to determine if you want to read the book or not. And if you are interested in reading the book, there is a link down below. I personally loved reading this book. I found it to be one of the most enjoyable reading experiences I've had in a while, and it's really because of his conversational writing style that makes the book so fun and easy to read, even though we are learning some very complex topics. This book is great for anyone who wants a solid foundational understanding of the topic of sleep and all of the complexities that surround sleep. But just remember that this is an educational book and this is not a self-help book. So if you have any issues with your sleep, aside from speaking to a doctor, you are using this book just for education and possibly for some intrinsic motivation. But on the whole, this book is really enjoyable and I'd highly recommend it. Again, there is a link down below. Let me know in the comments what other books about sleep should I read and discuss here. There are a ton of books out there, and if there's a book you've read before that you want me to check out, let me know and I will give it a read. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Pinterest, check out my website, and join my email list. All of those links are down below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see me review some sleep apps, then definitely check out this playlist right over here. And if you missed my last video where I discussed the top 6 health and wellness sleep benefits, then definitely check out this video down over here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.